Can I continue? Okay, let me just greet you again, grade 12s. This is Mr. Mane. I welcome you to African Team Geeks, as you can see on the screen. And then remember, yesterday we did file management. Today we're going to talk about the information processing as part of our practical assessment task. So like even tomorrow, then I'll be going in more detailed about how to tackle your practical assessment task, because this chapter that we cover today is very important in order to help us to apply the concept that we have learned in our practical assessment task. And now, let me just introduce the learning objectives. And then now, added this learning objective, we have to discuss the different methods that can be used to collect the data. I believe by now you know what the difference between a data and information and why is it important. Then we are going to talk about that as well. And now also we have to know how to process and analyze the data. Like for example, guys, and present the data. How do we present the data? That is why we need to write the reports. Like if you check in your phase 1, you are required to write a report. Then on your report, there must be something like task definitions. You know what must go in there. And also, but remember, you need to collect information, so that you need to know all the data methods that you can use to collect the information based on the problem you have identified, and then process that information and analyze the results of that. So remember, like I said before, then we are talking about the application programs as a task-specific program. Like each and every application is meant to accomplish a certain specific task. At first, for you to write or present your report or your data, you must write the report using Microsoft Word document. Like in phase 2, when you do your data analysis from the questionnaires that you wrote in first, the questionnaires in phase 2 as well, because how you collect the information is through this interview, the survey, the questionnaires, understand? There are so many methodologies that we can talk about. Then you need to know which application you can use in order to analyze that. Excel is a very important to analyze and process your data. And then from there, you give us the report in the form of Word documents. So that's the expectation. Now, let's talk about what is information management here. Like I said, I believe we all understand what is data. Unprocessed and unorganized facts that has no meaning. Like symbols, the letters like, but that is unprocessed. It doesn't reveal any meaning. So that is why we need to process that into an end product information. So an information. Okay, let me just welcome everyone. I see there's Mohammed, there's Trivo. So welcome, guys. And then the information management process is a good example of how to collect the data and organize and interpret and present data as information. Like I said, data is raw facts. We need to organize that such that it can be able to reveal a meaning to us. In such a way, it becomes an end product of processed and organized data. Is called an information. Now we are talking about information management as a process. Is a good example of how to collect and organize and interpret and present data as information to help you to get better understanding of this. We'll take a closer look at information management. Number one, we'll start by looking at how data can be collected. We'll then discuss how data can be stored and how to check the quality of the data, as well as how to process the data. Like, for example, why are we considering the quality here? Because remember, the end product of the processed data, that is information, it helps us in terms of making the decision. Therefore, if we've got data that is not accurate, that means we'll have a problem in terms of making the decision. So I think that's the most important thing that we have to know about this. And then, therefore, garbage in, garbage out. You are processing if wrong data or incorrect data, then you should expect the incorrect results. That means incorrect information, it can lead you into making an incorrect decision. That means it's very important to consider the quality of information, of which it includes the following characteristics. It must be clear, it must be relevant, it must be, what do you mean about the relevance? Like, for example, now you're expecting to have CAT class. I'm presenting something that has to do with maths. So there's no relevancy there. It must be clear, it must be complete. Like, for example, then maybe you are not sure what time, but you know that we've got CAT class today, but you don't know what time is it. That information is not complete because you cannot be able to make any decision because so you are uncertainly, then you need to get the clarity. So you see, it doesn't meet any quality of the quality information. That means our decision can be clearly because of incomplete information that we have. And then also it must be current. The old information, like for example, then you know last year on the same date, we had the CAT class, you see that. But now because of it's outdated, you cannot know whether is that class still continue or what. So you need to update that information so that it must be current, so that the currency of the information, these are the qualities. We are talking about the quality of the data. And then finally, we'll look at can be how data can be interpreted to give us information and how we can present this information to others. Like for example, in Excel, we know that we need to analyze the data, and then finally then we can put that into graphical form, like using the charts and the bar charts and the graphs to interpret that. So then that's where now we can be able to make what our decisions based on that. So that's how we can do this. Okay, I believe that's all about the information management. I believe everyone that now has understanding what we are talking about when we are talking about the information management. Let me just talk about the role and use of the data and information. Like for example, is a building a block of knowledge, because whenever then we've got information, we've got an awareness. Knowledge is an application, so it assists us in terms of making what? The decision, conclusion or decision as part of information management. Like for example, where does it start? We must have raw facts, then we process that into an end information that, as you can see there on that hierarchy, then we must have what? A knowledge. By the way, if we've got knowledge, that means it's very simple for us to make an informed decision. Like for example, in course of any problem that you'll encounter, maybe you might find a way to find the information on what causes that. So then in order for you to answer that, you need to collect the ready available information that you might find that there are some people who had the same problem in before. By collecting that information, then you are bringing an awareness to yourself, you understand? So whenever then you've got that information to implement the solution, then that's now when you decide. So basically based on the knowledge is like you're applying what you have now acquired, you understand? So that's how this hierarchy goes. Like This knowledge, it influences our decision-making process. That means the better quality information that we have, the better decision that we can make. Remember, a life is all about the decision-making process. Hence, we've got a choice. Choice is all about the decision that we have to make. It's basically based on whatever the type of the information that we have. So that means on the decision that we normally do, it's either we can fail then or we can pass. That's a prosperity. We prosper if we do the correct decisions. But if ever then you fail to come up with the correct decision, somehow you might be affected by that kind of the decision. So that's how the life is all about. The same scenario in this instance here, as you can see here. So that's how the hierarchy goes. Now, the role and use of the data as it continues and as part of the decision making. Here, first thing that we have to do, clearly identify a problem or a task that you need to do. Like in PET, you'll be given the scenario like then maybe, for example, they are telling you that people from this village, they stay near, okay, from this village, they can't cross to that other side of the area because where all the services are available. Because there are some, I think that was scenario in grade 9. There are some crocodiles, and then now, and when they can't cross because of the crocodiles, but there's no bridge, you see that self becomes a problem itself. You have to clearly identify the problem or a task. What is it that you can come up with in order to help these people? You have to collect as much as relevant data as efficiently as possible. So then, like, for example, so we've got different types of the bridge that can help us, then how to go about building that bridge, you understand? Collect as much as relevant. Like I said, the relevance means the relevant data, then that it meets the quality so that you can be able to make an informed decision. The collection of the data has no meaning on its own, like I said. Store the data in a spreadsheet or the database table. These are the applications that you need to use in order to store this information. Process data into information, like I said. Obtaining information by processing data. Detect patterns and relationship usable. Produce information on the spreadsheet and the database to process data. So you can interpret this graphical, like I said. So this is what we normally do. Like from phase 1, we write the reports and then use the source of the information that can help us to answer the research questions that we have formulated based on the problem that we have identified. That is very clear. So everyone, I believe, then understand that. And then, so that's a phase 1. We need to have a source folder as well in there so that whatever any information that we have used in order to back up an argument that we have as part of our problem, so then we can acknowledge that, guys, to avoid what is so-called the plagiarism, and that becomes this academic dishonesty, by the way. So that is why you need to acknowledge the source. So, but I'll talk about that at later stage. Okay, it seems like we've got a message. Okay, no, it's fine. Guillaume, welcome. Guys, whenever then you want to ask the questions, you have to go through the group chat, then that's where you write your question, whatever any comment that you have. So according to the rules here, we cannot unmute you. So that's a problem that we had at the moment. So now, like, this is very important, guys, the information management. So it's like, for example, you are conducting your research. What is a research, by the way? Systematic way of finding an answer to the problem. So then how do you find this? Since it's systematic, one step after the step. That's why phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Then what do you do final? Then you need to present what? You need to, no, sir, it's not allowed. Remember, this is an African team gig, guys. It's not Mr. Mohanes platform, then. So you must stick to the rules of the school here. So this is another school. This is African Teen Geeks. So let me just welcome some new members that don't know the rules for the African Teen Gig. You can visit the school website and check some terms and conditions of the learner code of conduct in there. We are not allowed. So that's a rule that we need to maintain, or a protocol, guys. I'm sorry, Mr. Kriyan, for that. You cannot. Okay, it doesn't matter anyway. Let me just continue. And then, like I said here, to process the data into information, obtain information by processing data, detect patterns on it. Like, for example, we know in access, it's very important. It's very important in access to detect the relationships. Like, then we'll talk about that at later stage when I do the practical on access. Like I said, remember this chapter that I'm covering today is very important because it forms a very integral component of everything that you are doing, because PET, it takes almost everything that we are doing in class. You are now bringing it together. So we integrate all this into one system now. So that's what you must do. It's like you are studying a car. Someone can do the wheels separately, engines, so that, but this one, then you bring in them together now. So like whatever, any functions that we have used and everything, then so we use that knowledge that we have acquired from the class into our practical assessment task. Okay, I'd like to entertain the questions from your side, guys, if there are any. Unless I'll just continue. The role and use of the data, and as part of the information, combine the information and knowledge gained into reports or presentation. Application of the data and information, acquiring knowledge, collecting and integrating, analyzing application. This, like I said, guys, this is what I've just said. This relationship helps us obtain new information and to develop the knowledge to allow us to answer the high-level questions such as how and why. You understand? So, because remember, if I can talk about the purpose of the research, can someone just share with me and then tell me what you understand? And then the role and use of the data, we continues here, guys. The most important thing about, like I said here, this relationship helps us obtain new information and develop the new knowledge to allow us to answer the highest level questions such as how and why. So remember, if I'm talking about the purpose of the research, so remember, your practical assessment task is part of the research components in your coursework, by the way. So then you need to know how to conduct the research. But the most important thing, there's no way for you guys to say, here I'll just engage myself in any research proceedings, hence you don't have any problem. So what forced you to conduct the research is because of the arising problem that we have at hand, you understand? So now you have to know that, because remember, if I'm talking about the purpose of the research, then you might want to describe why does this thing happen this way, and then maybe you want to explore. So like it's descriptive, exploratory, and explanatory. So those are the purpose of the research, understand? You might find out why. Maybe then you want to generate, develop the new knowledge. So that's exploratory research, because you have to experiment and then bring the new knowledge into an existence altogether. Now let's have a look here. Allow the decision makers to make an informed decision based on accurate, you see, I'm still emphasizing what the quality of what the information. Comprehensive, that means you can be able to understand the concept, the content of that, you understand? And the relevant report, the relevancy. So that means this one, whatever that information that we have, that meet what? The quality standard of quality information. It can help us in terms of our decision making. So then we understand, okay, what causes this? Is this because we check, we said we want to describe maybe, or the research is causal. And then we say, okay, now we understand now. So what should we do? Based on whatever the information that we have, it can guide us in terms of what? Making the correct decision. That's when now we implement the solution to that problem that we have. Decision making, understand the knowledge which we obtain answer to assist us to make decision and solve what the problems. Understand exactly. Now we know Then since we have got these findings, like I said, remember in Excel, when I was speaking, more special those that are in my class, because I've got some of the guys from my school here. And then I said, guys, Excel, we do the data analysis. Then how do we do that? We're using the formulas and functions. You have seen how to use functions together with formulas. Then you embed or you nest. We spoke about the nested functions and the formulas. Then basically based on the type of the scenarios, we did quite a number of the scenarios in class that we are solving. Like you have seen now where to apply this type of the functions. Normally when we do the summary of all the data that has been analyzed, then through all the functions and the formulas, that's when now we can present that in graphs. So because we can be able to interpret those graphs, then you know how to create the graphs, guys. With the legends on the graph, then the series, then you know how to do all the graphs. We did that in class, but for those that are in here, then I'm still gonna do more revision again. So that's gonna be part of the revision for you guys. I'll cover that on practical as well. So because this is part of our practical assessment task, then we need to know what is it that we have to do on our practical assessment task, our PET. Okay. Now, when we are talking about the methods, gathering information, we can use questionnaire as a method. Like for example, guys, if there is something that you need to explain, why does this thing usually around this time happens? You must find out around people that are around that environment. I think they might have some answers that you don't have. They understand that will guide you. Creating questionnaire, that's gonna be one of the methods. For example, yes, when you create the questionnaire, Guillaume, then I agree with you, you can use the Google Forms. These are the tools that now we have to use in order to create this questionnaire. Understand? Exactly, that's correct. I agree with you. Other than that, we can use what I'm gonna talk about that as well. So there. So like I prefer Google Forms. Like I said, you must do this, guys. Then you know that. Designing the questionnaires, closed questions, multiple questions that you have seen that on the Google Forms. Like I said, you've got all these type of the questions. It depends on what. Use the effective layouts when you create what your questionnaire. Some of the layouts already on Google Forms, they are there. Instruction on what to do with the completed survey. Use effective layouts, instruction on what to do with the completed survey. Because remember, sometimes you might find out why our sales at this shop now are declining. Then you don't know. You need to go and find out from the customer. Just write a survey, send it out, then they fill in. From there, you'll just hear their different opinions. From those opinions, then you'll know, okay, what is the main cause of this problem? Then how to avoid that? And then also, then you'll have to know what is the alternative solution in terms of whatever any problem that you have analyzed from your survey or whatever, any methods of data collection that we have used to find the opinions and the ideas of others, understand? So that's it. So let's have a look. Enough space for respondent to give their response, that's what you must do. But this one, I believe, guys, we all understand this, more especially those who have once used the Google Forms. Create electronic forms, like I said, and questionnaire with the form fields, like in Microsoft Word, guys, but it's much more simple and easy. And then, just a minute, guys, bear with me. Okay, we can also, other than using the Google form, and then we can create forms in Word, filled in direct on a computer, store the data record on the form electronically instead of using controls and placeholder. Grade 11, we have learned this. We are going to make use of form fields in Word. Like, can I just maybe share this with you guys in Microsoft Word? These are the most important. Developer tab in this. Some ways you'll never see this, but you have to know how to enable this tab, guys. So let me just open Microsoft Word documents. Already I've got one open here that I'm going to share that. And then let me just share the document. This is what you can see on Microsoft Word. Let's have a look. How many tabs do you see? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then do we have any developer tab? We don't. Okay, let's come to file tab. Then we go to options. On options, what do you see? We've got this. The word options, general, display, advanced, the ribbons and tabs, you see. Let's have a look. Then when you go down like this, you see this one here. Main tabs. These are the chosen commands from the tabs. These are the main tabs here. So you see we've got home with all this, and then, but if you check on the developer tab, it's not enabled here. So we just enable this. Then we close this and check what's going to happen. You see, just a minute. No, I didn't apply that. Just a minute. I'll just do this. I'm coming to your ribbons. My tab. Okay. Then okay. There we are. Then immediately when I press OK, that's when I'll see this. You'll see this tab with different controls. The controls are the most important to create your questionnaire. But now remember, this one you have to give each and every respondent to fill in this. But unlike that one on the Google form, you just send the directory, they can respond then automatically. Then you know everything is stored in your database. You can just export that into Excel documents. So that way I prefer that one. So other than this one, guys, let me just go back again and show you this. This is the design mode that they are tweaking. Let us choose insert active X control on the form control. Like you see, all these are the controls. Like if ever then you want multiple choice type of the questions, then you can take all these controls. But preferably then, guys, myself, I'm always encouraging my learners to use the Google Forms as alternative. The developer tab in the group, then it looks just like this. You have seen how to do that, guys. That's the most important thing, because now these are methods on how to create your questionnaire. So this, remember, is a part of data methodology in terms of data collection. The methods of data collection. Create electronic forms and the questionnaire with forms fields. Developer tab doesn't appear by default. If you can't see, like I've shown you already how to see that, click on the file tab and choose the option button. Click on customize ribbon, select the developer tab on the list. Then from there, you click OK. So now on Microsoft Word, guys, these are the controls that we can use in order to create our form fields. We've got the label, the field. This one, text form field, is a field where the text can be typed in. Checkbox, a box where item can be chosen or ticked. A field drop down is a field where you can choose a single item from, you understand? So like the same way that you have in form fields, this is what you can see. We place form fields on electronic forms as follows. Place the cursor where the form fields must be added. Go to developer tab, control groups, and then what happened? Click on the legacy tool icon, choose form fields, where that's where you can see all these fields. Can I just maybe practical do this so that at least there we are. This is what they are talking about here. There we are. You see? Then you've got text box. There's it. I'm putting my text box here. There's it. You see? Maybe here then I can put my label. Where's my label? Let's check label. That's my label. Okay. Okay, let me just put my label here. Just a minute. Okay, I see there's one more question. So this is optional, right? Because Google Forms seems a bit easier to use. Exactly like I said. Preferably then it's up to you guys. Then you'll have to decide. So these are the tools that we can use to collect our data. So like I said, this is another way. So maybe if in exam it comes, then they ask you about it, you must know it as well. So how you go about this. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, that's how you can just do it. So like as you can see here, this is my label. Say for example, maybe on the text box, I want to ask you guys, like you see what you can see. You can also even type here using, but don't worry about this because you're not doing programming, guys. Like you see the label, you can also type in your label, then say edit name, right? So this is how you can insert all these controls, guys. Like even this one here, you see. Then I just want to show you where to access these controls, guys. And then say, for example, here, let's come here. Yeah, saying, okay. You see, this is your field. Okay, guys, so I'm so sorry for any inconvenience, by the way. So, okay, I've seen there's another question. Okay. Yes, 100% correct. You need to know this, guys. More especially, like I said, the examiner, when they they are expecting you guys to know these things because they can ask you about it only to find out then you are only used to Google Forms. Then you need to know how to access these guys. So maybe practical, then you are doing something on your wet practical, then they want you to insert all these controls, then you need to where to access them, understand? Because like I said, remember on your practical assessment task, that's where we integrate all the concept that we have learned in class, guys. Like I said, whatever, anything that we have learned in class, like if you go through the rubric, like I said, so then I'll talk about this tomorrow because I'm going to review our PET and show you then how we go about our PET starting from phase one, then wherever you guys, I know some of you guys already have submitted my PETs, but you still have a second option that you can just better your PET to get the better marks than what you expect you should get. So now that's it. So then, like I said, tomorrow, please don't miss out. Then we are continuing again as well. So let me just go back to the original slide again. So this is how to go about this, guys. Like you see all these controls, then you have seen them, then how to do this, okay? Select the restrict editing in icon under protection on the developer to restrict editing of your, so that no one can edit this, you understand? They can just answer that, you understand? They mustn't change that. You must restrict that as well. So then you see this under storing on the data form electronically. How do you store this electronically? Open completed electronic form in Word. Click on the file tab. Option, you go to advanced. Scroll down until you see preserve fidelity when sharing these documents. Ensure that the save format as delimited text box is clicked. This one, as you can see here. You must tick in this one. Make sure that this is ticked. Now save the completed form under the different name. Import from the text file into Excel or Access. Combine the data from the various text into one context. Open a new blank Word document. Use the insert option in a text group. Text from file to add the text from each tile below under. Okay, can I show you this, guys? Then I'll show you this practical. Importing from the text file into Excel or Access. Combine the data from the various text file into one text file. But guys, since I don't have this kind of the data, then files, then file, one text file, open new blank Word. So that's what you must do. Use insert option, text from file to add text from each text file below one another. You can select all the text files simultaneously. Now save this as text file. Let's check how to do that. I'm just going to share this again. This is where they said you must come. Here, this is what they said you must come. You see, text from text file. So this is what you must do. Exactly. So this is what, for now, we have to select one file. Let's say, for example, I'm gonna take which one? I don't know whether this information is confidential or what here. Okay, let me just take this one. So you see. So I believe now you see how to do this, guys. Okay, there we are. So that's it. So I believe then you have seen that's how I inserted this information into this. So that's the process that they were saying that you must do there. Let's go back again. You can select all the text files simultaneous. Now save the document as text files. It is this text file which you will import into Excel or Access, you understand? So this is how you can export and import the files. I believe then we all know about this, guys, because remember at first, what we normally do, we create our questionnaires using Google Forms. From there, we send the link to the respondent, they respond, and also then we can export the document into your questionnaire, actual questionnaire, into PDF format. We'll save that file as a PDF. That's what we have been doing since grade 11, so that I believe everyone then is familiar with this. And then from there, what we normally do, from the respondent tab, because remember, you've got the original questionnaire on your, just unfortunately, guys, then I haven't opened my Gmail account, and I would just simply go into there and show you that, but I can try that. Let me just check what time is it now, so that the time doesn't run out of. Okay, it seems like we still have more time. Okay, let's do this. Okay, like, and also you can export your respondent information into Excel. So that's what you can simply do. It's all about importing from the text file into Excel. So import, that takes, remember when you import, the word import, it means open from into. So then export means save. So those are the most important keywords that we have to use to understand the difference among all these two, you understand? And then import the data into Excel and access data tab, get external data from this. So that's what you can simply do as well. So like I said, most of this we know them, understand? So guys, I'm having just a little bit challenge here because I just want to, okay, like there's nothing new here. Like if you see this document, is access. On this access, that's how now, like I said, we'll be using these documents throughout, because remember, this is a important part of our practical assessment task where we need to integrate all the concept that we have learned. We've learned about Microsoft Word, Access, Excel, and HTML, and the PowerPoint as well in grade 10. So then you need to be able to integrate all these guys, and then vice versa, you can import, export the document. You know what is to export? Then you are saving. Import, that means you open from Excel into Access. So that we did, even though the Access has been cancelled in our pad for now. Follow the prompts, and the default value set for each step should be fine. To import the data, note that you will have to give name to the field that you have been created in your table that we created with the imported data. So that's what you must do. I believe you guys. And then when I do the practical, guys, I think I'll just touch much more of this so that you can just see this. Because remember, finally, we spoke about how to create the reports. The report is very important. So now remember the structure of the report. Introduction, then we've got general backgrounds, that is information, what leads to this investigation, that is like your task definition, what is the report about, what can the reader expect, the main body. Remember this one, guys, used to the information that you have collected to analyze, interpret it, because remember this one at phase one, we don't include discussion because already we still have to do what? Our research in phase two. That is why it's very important when you're done also with your phase two, whatever that you have collected, you should be able to put it under the body, your discussion, what we have found from use the information that you have collected to analyze, interpret, and explain the use, understand. Then you must use what headings to group related information. Ensure that the paragraphs are logical. Conclusion, summarize the main points, describe what you have learned, you understand, from your research. Like remember, then we are defining the problems. Like this one, guys, then mainly then you can talk about them in phase two, when you have to still need to amend your report. It needs to be part of there. It must be in there. So your report must be in there. So that's what you have to do. And then the summary, describe what you have learned, new knowledge and insight about the problem, because already you have seen what causes this problem. So don't add new information here. Include recommendations if there are any, you understand? Basically, then you'll do this based on the findings that you have just. Structure of the report. Round off your report with the cover page, with the title of the reports, the author's name, that one, then you know, guys, like a table of content with the main points, heading and subheading, as well as list of any diagram tables. Guys, I'm so sorry, I'm so inconvenient. With all due respect, guys, I'm sorry for any interruption. So cover page, like a table of content with the main points, guys. Like this one, guys, I'll be doing the revision on these ones again, on how to insert the table of content, the heading, the subheadings, as well as the list of any diagram or tables, because I see there's a question there. Driver, no problems. Thank you, guys, for understanding. A list of references. Like I said, guys, the references are very much more important, because remember, then you need to collect the information from other people, source of information. Therefore, it's quite important to know exactly who you got information from, and then you must acknowledge that. That's when we can talk about the in-text referencing and the end-text referencing, which is what your bibliography. Then I'll be doing the research on this when we're covering the revision on Microsoft Word again. So, because I believe not all of you guys, because some of you guys is for the first time, then I met with them here. So I'll be talking about this as well. So because this need to be part of your research. And then remember, the list of all your references must be included in your source manager dialog box tool. That's, I'll show you how to do that, guys. So like cover page with the title of the reports, the author's name, and a short extract or the summary of the report. So that needs to be shown on your cover page as well. So then guys, like for example, I said, those that I've sent you guys the checklist, whenever you do anything, then you go through the checklist to make sure that you have included all the requirements as per your pet requirements, understand? Other than that, guys, I believe this chapter is very long. Then I'll just maybe just pause it here. Then like after here, use of the spreadsheet and database in professional reports. Because remember, you can also generate reports using database or access spreadsheet or data. So now the database, what is this? This is a large amount of data that, like for example, then spreadsheet can use what statistical and mathematical function. Like I said, analyze the data and produce what the graph. That's what I'm expecting you to do, because I've explained this. Okay, other than that, guys, let me just pause here. Tomorrow we'll be continuing with the very same slide, as I'll be putting more emphasis on our pet, guys. So these are just the tools that we need to apply in order to approach what our pet. That is what information management is all about, guys. So it forms a core of our practical assessment task. So because I see there are some questions coming in, let me just try to attend to your question. Thank you, guys. You are more than welcome. Please, let's pass the message. Others can join. Tomorrow I'm in again, even up. Then I'll send it. No, I've shared the timetable already, guys, with some of you guys. Then please, any questions for any clarity, guys, then you are more than welcome to share. Because like as you see here, we finished with this application, use of a spreadsheet and database in the professional reports. So, and then we know what are used for. So the database is a large amount of the data. The spreadsheet is used to do the statistical and mathematical functions, the analysis of the data, and we produce the graphs so that we can be able to make our decision based on that. Use of the spreadsheet and the databases. The results of the calculation and other data processing done in spreadsheet and data can be included in professional reports. Like I said, all this information also, guys, it must be part of your report in your Word documents. Like in class, you have seen, guys, how I said you can put, like, now you know how to export and import. You can export whatever any information that you have, maybe your graphs in your report, your Word document report. Then from there, you do some analysis on that data, what you see, and then you tell us, okay, these are my findings. Then I've seen this. I'll just do some examples as well about this. Like those that are with me in class, they know what we are normally doing, guys. So then I'm so sorry for those that I haven't covered any graphs from the spreadsheet. Like I said, it's very important. Statistics, average, minimum, maximum, mode, and median value from the spreadsheet. So these are the functions that we need to use in order to do what the data analysis. But now, as per the PET requirements, guys, I believe this is quite important that you can go through your the marking rubric. Then you use that as your checklist just to check how the marks are allocated, and then it just guides you, guys. Then you just follow that, you understand? So like I said, tomorrow, if not tomorrow, then I'll be continuing with this chapter because it's very long, maybe up to next week Tuesday. Then I'll be talking about this. Remember now we are covering term 3 work, and then for those that will meet at school, then because we are still on break, they know the reason why. So then we'll talk about this in class as part of the revision, I believe. So for today, guys, let me just call it a day till we see once again.